Alright, guys, welcome to Come Original, and this week we're going to be talking about Walking Dead Season 5 Death Predictions.
Yay.
Yahoo!
Come Original!
Alright, guys, so Season 5. I think we're a little excited about it.
No, I'm not excited
Yeah,
at
yeah.
all, really.
Who
It's
cares?
not like we have, 36 days,
Yeah,
12
no.
hours, 44 minutes
Yeah,
until...
yeah. It is actually like less than 4 weeks away. It's a little over 3 weeks away. That's crazy.
We're crazy
Anyway,
excited.
so, Season 4, it was a little light on the death side as far as major characters go. So maybe they'll make up for it on Season 5. So, we're going to kind of go over who we predict's going to die. Like, we're going to think of, like, what major or minor characters could possibly go. And what's great about the show is, like, you still have no idea what's going to happen. Like, who in the
Absolutely.
hell is going to die? Like, even from the trailers, like, they're trying to mislead you and like, who knows?
We're going to try and refrain from talking too much about the trailers, too. We're going to...
Because I haven't seen it. I like to go into things.
And we
not
know a lot
knowing
of you
anything.
guys haven't seen it either.
So we're just going to speculate from the episodes and just what information we have that's actually concrete.
Look at the
So,
flowers.
Look at the flowers, yeah.
So let's review just real quick. Who died in Season 4?
Well, of course, we have Herschel, the governor, Lizzie and Micah, and Joe.
All right.
So
So those
are five. Like, I would say two are major characters, Governor and Herschel, and then the other three are minor. I mean, legitimate characters, but
Yeah, they get
Yeah.
character development, but they're not.
And
on
I'd
the
like
same
to,
level.
I know I've said this before, but I'd like to point out there's one more main character asterisk mark, Beth. Because remember, she was captured
Yeah.
in the episode when she and Daryl are off on their own in that church.
But you don't know what happens.
And
You don't know
You
how-
have no idea what happens to her. You don't think that she's dead when she's kidnapped. Well, maybe abducted would be a better word, because you can argue the people who took her were trying to save her from walkers, maybe,
Yeah.
and they didn't know Daryl was there. But nevertheless, she's gone. You don't know who they are. But then in the next two episodes, we finally get to Terminus, and we see that the big spoiler alert is, we think that they're the cannibals.
Like, could they be?
Yeah.
All
You
signs
see-
point to
They have
yes.
boxcars, for train, and like
they
you hear people screaming in one of them. And is Beth one of those people in the boxcar? You don't know.
Or,
And it's-
as they have already served Beth a la carte.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't-
Is
we
that
don't
is
know.
that a good chunk of medium rare Beth on the grill there? Because I don't think the show would just do that. I feel like
Yeah.
they developed her so much. They would give her a story leading to her death. They wouldn't just be like,
well, she died.
This is her clothing in this cook.
And we fed
Yeah.
Beth to Maggie, who arrived
Yeah,
before
yeah.
you.
That would be kinda
You
cool,
ate
though.
your own sister.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so like Season 5, like, we're gonna open at Terminus. Who knows what's gonna happen? I guess they'll probably escape somehow, but who knows how the story's gonna unfold. But as far as like what major characters are due, like, I feel like we're down to like only a few like core characters from the first season. We've got Rick,
Glenn.
Daryl, Glenn, is that Carl?
Carl.
Those are the only four that are alive from the first season. So I would argue that those four would have to be safe, just because like the show might lose a little bit if it's luster if they keep getting rid of those core characters. But
Daryl.
yeah,
you say
Daryl, yeah, like I would say Daryl's definitely safe because fans would freak out.
They would freak
I would
out.
Yeah,
freak the
yeah.
out.
Oh.
I mean, forgive my French, but anything happens to Daryl, I'm gonna, I will become a zombie and bring him back. I mean, I don't know what I would do, but
Yeah.
anyway.
But yeah, Daryl's safe because there's a chance a lot of people would stop watching the show or just freak out and boycott it. And of course they can't kill Rick because it's his story. Like, maybe Carl, but I would be very surprised.
I'd be
I don't think
surprised,
they
but
could
I
do
mean,
that.
out of those main characters, I think if you're gonna say anybody out of the main characters, Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn.
But
Out of the core four.
I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
I'd say, but I mean, it is a possibility, and I think that they have brought him to such a level of fan, love that it would be devastating, but people would still watch.
And if you think
but
back,
that's hard to say.
like on the last season, Glenn was like, he was sick. He was like weak. He just all of a sudden become this warrior. And the last season, he didn't have much time to really prove himself. So that would make
He
me
was so
think.
focused on Maggie. He just
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
get to Maggie, and he became like super soldier with his like armor and everything, and that he gave up eventually. But still,
Glenn does have leadership capabilities, though. We've seen that before in seasons 3 in particular.
Well,
when
he was
Rick's
sort of
gone
a
off the
weak
deep
leader.
end.
Yeah.
But he was still more capable than some of the other people.
He is, but I still think he could learn. He's young, he's like.
I think he was
He
given the
doesn't- yeah.
opportunity, and he learned from the opportunity. But you still see that he's not on the level of like Rick.
No, definitely not. Rick's a natural leader. I mean, Rick was a cop before the apocalypse. I mean, now that you're in it,
And a good cop.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, Rick's just such he's good at his core. Anyway, he's not gonna die. But speaking of Glenn, I think Maggie might be on the chopping block because there's a big omen in the penultimate episode of last season, Us, where Maggie and Glenn reunite and they burn that picture and they're like, we never have to, we'll never be separated again. I think that's a little ominous. And I know that they just killed one of the Green family members with Herschel, but maybe people wouldn't see another death coming, and everyone's like, oh, Beth's definitely going to die, so Maggie might be the surprise there.
It could be definitely.
Yeah.
I think that could be a good surprise because it could be she dies and then Beth comes back and is like, "Where's Maggie?"
Yeah.
And that's like a possibility, but it's like all of what we're saying is like hearsay. We have no idea of what's gonna happen.
Yeah, but if we were the writers, like, I don't know. Like, the thing is, maybe the show's due for one of those left field deaths, like Lori. Like, maybe they do kill Carl, but I don't know. I don't think they'll kill them. And I think Michonne's probably safe. Like, I would argue, like, Abraham's probably safe because they just introduced him and, like, they have a lot to build with his character. Maybe Eugene, maybe he'll be around for a while. He doesn't
It
seem
would
like
be
he's fit
it
to
would be
say.
bad if they got like all the way to Washington or wherever they choose to go now, and Eugene just was killed.
Yeah,
Because that
that'd
would
be
mean
bad.
everything that they had been
It's like,
doing
well,
was
there
for
goes
nothing.
our
But
motivation.
But there's, that still could be something because, like, you never know what's going to happen in this crazy mixed-up zombie world.
yeah, I don't think they have to necessarily kill off a character who's been around since the first season. I mean, I'm not saying that I think all the characters who have survived from the first season so far are safe. But, they didn't kill anybody off in the fourth season, for example. We still had 2 big deaths, but Herschel was introduced in 2, the governor in season 3. So who do we have introduced in season 4 who could be killed? Yeah, it
Yeah.
could be Abraham, could be Eugene, could
Maybe
be...
Rosita,
Yeah,
the
Rosita.
third. Well, they haven't really developed her character enough, and I feel like that show doesn't just throw away characters.
I don't
they've
think.
developed-
I feel
yeah.
like they will develop her and then kill her.
What about...
Yeah,
let's not forget...
That's not everybody.
Let's not
Yeah.
forget Tara, though, from the Governor Saga.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tara. I feel like that's another character who has room to grow, and it's kind of interesting
agree.
with her because she trusted Brian or the governor, and now like she's like so guilty about it. She just lost everyone that.
And she tries to help
anything
Glenn.
her.
So, I mean.
Glenn's gonna defend her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Maggie.
Why do you think Glenn chose to defend her coming out of the prison?
Well, I just think that was just a survival of the fittest thing. I just think Glenn was just like, well, I need help out in the world. Like, surviving on your own is very unlikely.
He didn't even really want. He just wanted to get to Maggie, and
Yeah.
she was willing to help him because she felt so bad about what the governor had done, and like
Yeah.
heard about what had happened with specifically Glenn and Maggie.
But Glenn didn't know that she was willing to help him, though, when he chose to save her. She was just sitting there full of remorse about everything that had happened.
Right.
And Glenn, without knowing, Glenn knew that she was one of the people who had attacked them, yet he still chose to save her.
But Glenn's a good person.
Yeah.
Glenn's a good person, and the reason I truly believe Glenn chose to save her is because he could see in her face that she was remorseful about the whole thing happening, and she didn't want any of that. And Glenn knows directly how evil the governor
And
was,
manipulating.
and manipulative,
Yeah.
and I think he realizes that he did the same thing
That
to this
she was a
girl.
victim, just
Yeah.
like he was. to
And
the
you know
governor.
he was willing to forgive Merle from doing all those terrible things. I can see him forgiving Tara and
definitely.
saving her and letting her join in the group.
Well, let's see. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if she died, but I still feel like
Yeah,
she has
character
room to
development,
grow.
yeah.
Like I would say, like I don't care about her yet as much as the other characters, and the show has to get there before they kill her off.
Right.
So who else is in the boxcar? Bob.
Bob,
So
yeah.
I feel like he had some good character development in the latter half of season 4,
I haven't
and
seen.
he has a relationship with Sasha now. I mean, I feel like he could grow a little bit more, but he would maybe be one who's on the chopping block.
I don't really see
Yeah.
what Bob's value to the group is, and I'm not trying to be insensitive.
medic.
But I mean, is he really like a pivotal character? I don't think we've. I want Bob to stay around because I want him to develop more. I want to know.
And he's a good actor too.
Yeah,
the
he's-
actor who plays.
he's
yeah,
caused-
nothing
yeah.
against the actor. It's
Yeah.
just at this point, I don't really see what his.
He's caused problems, but he's also like kind of redeemed himself from his like. I mean, he's trying at least to be a part of a group because he's the only one that survives each group that he's.
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of.
exactly. She's the sole survivor.
Yeah.
All right, so sorry about the interruption there, but anyways, so we just wrapped up who is in the train car. So now we've got 3 who are outside of the train car who have their own little subplot. Carol, Tyrese, and baby Judith. Now, who might bite the dust out of those?
Better not be Baby Judith. No.
Well, that could be the shocker of the season.
It could be, but I don't see The Walking Dead doing that. If there is a show that would kill a baby, it might be The Walking Dead.
It might be, but that's like that's
Even for this show, that'd be extreme.
But I do think, those characters are obviously going to play a major role in the first episode when it comes to Terminus. And, are they the ones who will break out Rick and company?
The way I see it, Carol and Tyrese are their only hope because I can't understand why the termites would make a deal with them and why they wouldn't just kill them like any other people. Because more disturbing than the fact that they're cannibals, arguably, is the fact that when they're in the church or the temple or whatever you call it, the shrine, and they see that message on the wall and those big letters spelled out everywhere. Never trust, never again, us first, always. It's like these people have already been through hell, and they're just that hardened and resigned.
Yeah.
Why would they partner and work together with Rick and his group?
It's a take no prisoner.
Yeah, and the whole, they walked right into the trap, and what's to say that Carol and Tyrese aren't about to do the same thing as well?
And
But the-
especially with the way that Rick left Carol, this would be a way that he sees that Carol and Tyrese are working together and he can trust them again because he's the only they're the only people that he can trust at this point because he can't trust the people that have captured him, obviously.
Yeah, and will Rick be able to get over his differences with Carol if they reunite? I think so because she had taken care of the baby for him, and
a good way to
what
redeem
Harrison
yourself.
said earlier before the camera cut out, that Tyrese and Carol had gotten over their differences, and that was the whole crux of the confrontation. And Rick would seem pretty willing to forgive her for that and bring her back in the group, considering now it's like a survival of the fittest situation. There's no prison anymore. There's no home. They're going to be out there by themselves, and they need a strongest of group as possible.
Tyrese was the one who was the most upset about the fact that somebody killed Karen and David.
Yeah.
We don't deny that, and if he is willing to forgive Carol for that, I can see Rick or anyone else being willing to forgive her for that too.
Right.
And if she rescues them somehow, I can totally see Carol getting redeemed. It's very, very possible.
So baby Judith dying,
Meh.
nah, probably not.
Well,
don't know.
Speaking
But-
of Baby Judith dying, you remember the end of the mid-season, they found Baby Judith's carriage with the blood in it, and Rick and Carl truly believed that Baby Judith was dead.
Yeah.
I personally did not believe that. I thought somebody had escaped and took Baby Judith with him.
You
And
think it would be more dramatic than that. Although that scene was still awesome and
Right.
convincing you that could have happened and just piled on with Herschel's death. And
But
all
I
that.
didn't believe it, and I
Yeah.
was so glad to be right about that one.
And so Tyrese, maybe? I don't know. I feel like Tyrese is a lovable character, and he's grown a lot for me personally.
Tyrese is one of my favorite
Yeah, he's
characters,
awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't I could see him becoming more and more of a fan favorite. So I don't know. They could still kill him. Who knows? And Carol, I mean, she's one of the original cast members. Who knows? That's awesome on the show. Who knows? But death predictions. Huh?
Predictions.
So, anyways, since we're gonna be watching the whole season together, let's place some bets of who
Not monetary,
is good.
but
well,
just, you know.
you know, fun bets. And you all, post in the comments below, subscribe to us, of course, and who do you think's gonna bite the dust this time?
We're all
We
gonna-
got 16 episodes to go. Somebody's gonna die. So I'm gonna go first. I think that Bob is probably my pick to die, just because I know it's sort of a safe choice. He's not a major character, but they've developed him enough, and I care about him, and I think he's a good actor. The actor who plays him, and like Gilliard or whatever his name is. Sorry, you're a great actor. Yeah. Anyway,
I
Doug
think
Harrison.
I think Maggie. I think that would be a pretty awesome main character to have killed. I mean, love Maggie, but it would be shocking. I mean, more shocking than Bob, but that's just my opinion. We haven't. I mean, maybe they develop Bob more, and then I care more about Bob. But who knows? What about
Plus the
Bob?
photo omen. Ooh, Bill Murray. So
My prediction is going to be Carol is the one who bites the dust in this season. Carol's come a long way. I can totally see her, getting back in with the group and redeeming herself. But at the same time, I can also see, she's gone full circle completely. She did make a mistake when she killed Karen and David, and although she had her reasons for doing what she did, nevertheless, that was a liberty to take she shouldn't have taken.
that's true. But can they develop her character more? Because it does seem like her arc has gone full, the whole route.
But Carol's already lost a lot of her family at this point too, especially Sophia's death, and I don't think that there's a whole lot left for Carol in this world, because I don't think that
Daryl.
has.
Well, I don't know. That could be
It's
the next
possible
love
that could
story.
blossom.
Love interest.
But I don't think Daryl has. I don't think Daryl would hook up with Carol. I don't think he's interested in her per se. Of
I
course.
don't know,
she
but they
is
seem to
for
be
him.
the most intimate. But we'll see what happens. So
Yeah.
anyway,
There's definitely something more than friendship.
we've got Harrison
Harrison Fogel.
for betting on Maggie, Thomas Willett, and I got Bob going. And
Chris Sorgel betting on Carol.
all right, guys. So please subscribe to us. Comment below. Just say
Follow me on Instagram. It's at
Yeah.
fogelfunk.com.
He
Not
does
.com,
art.
but it's at fogelfunk.
yeah, check it out. He's a good artist. And anyway, so we're gonna keep doing these throughout the season, and we're gonna have some more videos building up
Thanks for
to
listening
season
to
5.
us.
About 3 weeks to go, guys.
Pay attention to us.
Yeah, please.
Watch The Walking Dead Sundays at 9 only on AMC.